Imagine this: Paris, 1989. The front row of a fashion show, electrified designers, dazzling celebrities, and there, strutting down the runway as naturally as a top model, is an iconic Louis Vuitton trunk. If this image seems surreal to you, it's because Louis Vuitton, more than just a fashion house, has become a timeless symbol of travel and luxury. From the first flat trunk created in 1858 to the groundbreaking collections of Virgil Abloh and Nicolas Ghesquière, Louis Vuitton embodies a dream, turning the world into a playground where luxury meets practicality. Welcome to this new episode of Cappuccino and Croissant, where, between sips of coffee, we'll dive into the fascinating history of a house that has rewritten the rules of luxury. Today, we're not just talking about bags and trunks, but about the legacy and global impact of Louis Vuitton on Paris Fashion Week and the luxury industry. And spoiler alert, it's not just a fashion story, it's a true French success story, blending craftsmanship, innovation, and global influence. So grab your coffee and your Vuitton bag, because we're about to travel back in time, explore the behind-the-scenes world of creation, and see how Louis Vuitton conquered the luxury world without ever sacrificing its core values. Louis Vuitton. Today, the name is synonymous with luxury, travel, and prestige, but its story stretches back to a time when fashion hadn't yet broken free from the boundaries of artisanal workshops. It all starts in 1837, when Louis Vuitton, just 16 years old, decided to leave his small village in Jura to try his luck in Paris. Can you imagine? The young man crossed France on foot for more than 2 years before finally arriving in the capital. That's how the adventure began, with determination and, dare I say, a serious appetite for challenges. Once in Paris, Vuitton landed an apprenticeship with a famous boxmaker, Monsieur Maréchal. At the time, these boxes were prized possessions, holding the clothing and personal items of the nobility and bourgeoisie. Meticulously packed for long journeys, Vuitton quickly mastered the craft. We're not talking about monogrammed handbags just yet, but rather custom-made boxes designed to endure bumpy journeys on uneven roads. Yes, in 1837, traveling wasn't exactly a walk in the park, but Louis was a visionary. After nearly 17 years perfecting his skills, he decided to launch his own trunk-making business in 1854. And this is where Louis Vuitton truly begins to shine. He opened his first store at 4 Rue Neuve des Capucines in Paris, offering something entirely new: flat-top trunks. Up until then, trunks had rounded tops to allow rainwater to run off. Practical, sure, but not exactly ideal for long journeys. They were impossible to stack, and good luck keeping them intact during sea voyages. Louis Vuitton, with his knack for innovation, designed a flat-top trunk, durable, but more importantly, stackable. This small detail made all the difference. It's a bit like discovering rolling luggage today. Yes, it was that revolutionary for the time. In 1858, he introduced his lightweight, waterproof try-on canvas trunks with unmatched style. Vuitton quickly became the official supplier to Empress Eugénie, and his business took off. His reputation soon extended beyond France, and he began exporting his creations across Europe. The revolution of luxury travel had begun. The turning point came in 1867 at the Paris Exposition Universelle. It was here that Louis Vuitton showcased his trunks to an international audience, and the world began to grasp the full scope of his genius. Picture the era: grand expeditions, the first transatlantic cruises. Travel was becoming a prestigious affair, and Louis Vuitton was leading the charge. The 1867 exhibition marked the beginning of his international success. From that moment on, the brand became a symbol of refined travel. But why such success? It's simple. Louis Vuitton wasn't just selling trunks, he was selling a new way to travel and experience. By the end of the 19th century, travel was no longer reserved for explorers, but for a new bourgeois class eager to discover and conquer the world. Vuitton's trunks adapted to this demand. It wasn't just about aesthetics. Each trunk was designed for unprecedented practicality: compartments for clothes, shelves for shoes, spaces for hats. Vuitton understood that wealthy travelers didn't just want to transport their belongings, they wanted to do it with elegance and organization. Socially, this marked a fascinating evolution. As travel became more accessible, at least for the elites, luxury luggage became a symbol of social status. Traveling with a Louis Vuitton trunk was like displaying your membership in the enlightened elite of the modern world. It was a way of showing not just wealth, but also a taste for refinement. The Vuitton became a statement, a way to stand out in a rapidly changing world. What's brilliant about Louis Vuitton is how he capitalized on the societal changes of his time. As transportation infrastructure evolved, with the rise of railways and steamships, Vuitton understood that the demand for practical, elegant luggage was about to explode. And he was ready with his innovations. His trunks were no longer just utilitarian objects, they had become icons of nomadic luxury. In short, Louis Vuitton is far more than just a luggage brand. From the very beginning, he understood the importance of innovation, combining practicality and aesthetics to meet the needs of a new generation of travelers. From his rise in Paris to his international success at the 1867 Exposition Universelle, he transformed the practical demands of travel into true luxury items, paving the way for the brand we know today. If Louis Vuitton laid the foundation for an iconic luxury brand with his elegant, practical trunks, it was his son, Georges Vuitton, who truly propelled the house to new heights. The story of Georges is that of an heir who not only inherited the family's artisanal know-how, but also had the visionary ability to innovate while staying true to the brand's core values. Georges Vuitton entered the family business at the end of the 19th century. From the outset, he was faced with a significant challenge: counterfeiting. Yes, the history of knockoffs is not exactly recent. At that time, Vuittons were already world-renowned, and as you'd expect, they began to be widely copied. But while others might have simply cried scandal, Georges took matters into his own hands with a brilliant idea: the LV monogram, created in 1896. The idea behind the monogram was simple: an immediately recognizable visual symbol that would become the house's signature. But don't be mistaken, it's not just a logo. The LV monogram, with its intertwined letters and Japanese-inspired floral motifs, is a true work of art. It embodies both family history and timeless luxury, and most importantly, it was designed to outsmart counterfeiters. You can almost picture Georges with a sly smile, knowing full well that this emblem would become one of the most powerful symbols in the world of luxury. What he might not have imagined is that more than 100 years later, this same logo would still be a global status symbol, seen everywhere. With the monogram, Georges Vuitton didn't just protect the brand, he created a strong visual identity that expanded beyond traditional trunks. Under his leadership, Louis Vuitton began to diversify its offerings, particularly in creating the first handbags and accessories. We're talking about the early 1900s, and the modern bourgeoisie no longer relied solely on bulky travel trunks. They wanted practical objects suited to a life on the move, but always luxurious. The first truly iconic bag from this era was the steamer bag, launched in 1901. A soft bag initially designed to fit inside the trunks, it became a travel bag in its own right, perfect for short trips or lighter getaways. In many ways, the steamer bag was the ancestor of all modern travel bags. Then, in 1930, came the keepall, a bag that has become legendary, embodying the brand's nomadic, luxurious spirit. Lightweight, spacious, and designed to meet the needs of modern travelers, the keepall remains one of Louis Vuitton's flagship pieces to this day. With this bag, it's clear that Georges Vuitton understood long before others that fashion and luxury were no longer confined to ceremonial attire. Luxury had to accompany every aspect of life, from the everyday to the extraordinary. But the story of Louis Vuitton is not just a series of uninterrupted successes. Like many others, the business faced a dark period during World War II. During the occupation of France, business did not operate as usual. However, Louis Vuitton managed to survive. The strategy was clear: adapt to rebound stronger. While certain controversial aspects of this period, particularly the brand's relationship with the Vichy regime, cannot be ignored, Louis Vuitton emerged from the war with its prestige intact, ready to embrace the post-war years with strength. What's fascinating about this period is the resilience of the Vuitton house. Not only did it survive the war, but it continued to innovate, meeting customer needs and expanding its product range. Georges Vuitton successfully upheld the brand's values while adapting to social and economic upheavals. He understood before anyone else that the future of luxury lay not just in artisanal perfection, but in the ability to tell a story, to create an entire universe. That's what Louis Vuitton did, and continues to do today. In conclusion, under Georges Vuitton's leadership, the house not only consolidated the legacy of its founder, but also paved the way for a new era. The LV monogram, iconic handbags like the steamer and the keepall, and the ability to adapt historical challenges allowed Louis Vuitton to become much more than just a luggage brand. It became a symbol of status, an emblem of luxury, and a house capable of transcending eras with brilliance. The arrival of Marc Jacobs at Louis Vuitton in 1997 marked a decisive turning point for the house. At the time, Louis Vuitton was globally recognized for its leather goods and travel bags, but the brand had yet to take the leap into the world of global fashion. Enter Marc Jacobs. This American designer, already known for his bold collections, was tasked with transforming Vuitton from a luxury luggage brand into a full-fledged fashion house. Spoiler alert, he succeeded beyond all expectations. Jacobs became the first artistic director in Louis Vuitton's history, and he wasted no time in evolving the brand's image. From the get-go, he understood that Vuitton could no longer be content as a traditional leather goods house, despite its prestigious heritage. He began introducing ready-to-wear collections and accessories while reinventing the house's classic handbags. Under his leadership, Louis Vuitton became a true fashion house, gracing the runways and no longer just residing in the closets of affluent travelers. What makes Marc Jacobs truly unique, however, is his talent for collaborating with contemporary artists. And he didn't just choose anyone. He surrounded himself with the most creative and avant-garde minds of the time, transforming each collaboration into a true artistic event. In 2001, he teamed up with Steven Sprouse, an American artist known for his graffiti art, and together, they created a collection of bags covered in graffiti, including the iconic LV monogram. Can you imagine? The classic Speedy bag, now splashed with neon graffiti. It was bold, irreverent, and, most importantly, an enormous success. Then, in 2003, Jacobs took it even further with Takashi Murakami, the renowned Japanese artist who reinvented the traditional monogram with a pop color palette. Together, they launched a line that would become legendary, the monogram multicolor. Murakami introduced playful, animated motifs, and the collection became instant fashion phenomenon. The handbags became works of art, worn by celebrities like Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. And at that moment, Louis Vuitton cemented itself at the center of pop culture. It was no longer just traditional luxury, but a luxury that engaged with art, the streets, and new generations. But Marc Jacobs didn't stop there. In 2012, he teamed up with the legendary Yayoi Kusama, a Japanese artist famous for her obsession with polka dots, and together, they created a collection that flooded Vuitton's storefronts with colorful, psychedelic patterns. Once again, Louis Vuitton took risks, and once again, it was a roaring success. Kusama, Murakami, Sprouse. These collaborations weren't just marketing stunts. They showed how Jacobs had masterfully injected an artistic language into a brand already steeped in luxury history. He opened the house to outside influences while staying true to its roots. And of course, we can't forget the it bags. Under Marc Jacobs, Louis Vuitton created bags that became cultural phenomena. Models like the Speedy, which has existed since the 1960s but was modernized by Jacobs. The Neverfull launched in 2007 and now one of the house's most popular bags, and the Alma rose to iconic status. These bags weren't just status symbols, but pieces that captured the spirit of the time, and Jacobs knew exactly how to capitalize on that. Under his direction, Louis Vuitton became a luxury brand that was both accessible to the masses and maintained its exclusive image. Jacobs didn't just create bags. He also introduced a ready-to-wear line that still resonates today. With him, Louis Vuitton's clothing collections took center stage at Paris Fashion Week. He introduced modern cuts, elegant silhouettes, and avant-garde details, marking Vuitton's entry into haute couture. Under his leadership, the house no longer limited itself to making accessories. It dressed men and women with the same attention to detail, the same passion for craftsmanship. The impact of this era on popular culture is undeniable. Marc Jacobs redefined Louis Vuitton as a brand that spoke not just to luxury travelers, but to an entire generation. At a time when fashion and pop culture were merging and blending, Louis Vuitton became omnipresent, not only in fashion magazines, but also in music videos, films, and TV shows. Vuitton bags appeared in shows like Sex and the City, carried by Gen Y celebrities who became ambassadors of Vuitton's style. In summary, the Marc Jacobs era at Louis Vuitton was marked by a radical transformation. He took a leather goods house focused on its past and turned it into a global fashion brand in tune with the desires of younger generations. Through groundbreaking collaborations, bold ready-to-wear collections, and cult status bags, Jacobs not only kept Louis Vuitton at the top, but pushed it even further into the realm of contemporary culture. Today, the legacy of that era still resonates in every Louis Vuitton creation, a reminder that fashion can be both an art form and a serious business. After the flamboyant era of Marc Jacobs, Louis Vuitton managed not only to maintain but to amplify its global influence under the leadership of two major figures, Nicolas Ghesquière for the women's collections and Virgil Abloh until his passing in 2021 for the men's collections. Each, in their own way, redefined what luxury could mean in the 21st century, grounding the house in modernity while engaging with societal and cultural transformations. As of 2024, Louis Vuitton continues to shine under their dual influence. Let's start with Nicolas Ghesquière, who joined Louis Vuitton in 2013. Ghesquière is a master at blending the past and the future. His futuristic and modernist aesthetic is deeply rooted in historical references, which he reinterprets with ultra-contemporary cuts. From his early days at Vuitton, he sought to deconstruct traditional notions of elegance while remaining faithful to the house's heritage. Ghesquière excels at playing with temporal contrasts. He fuses retro elements, often inspired by the 70s and 80s, with technical materials and avant garde silhouettes. One of the standout moments of his tenure was the 2017 Cruise collection, presented at the Louvre Museum. In a setting steeped in history, he showcased a collection that merged the old and the new, with dresses inspired by historical costumes and futuristic accessories. This hybrid aesthetic, where pieces seem to belong to multiple eras at once, has become Ghesquiere's signature at Louis Vuitton. He has turned the women's ready-to-wear line into a reflection on time travel, all while ensuring that the Louis Vuitton woman embodies independence and modernity. The silhouettes he proposes, whether structured or fluid, always reflect a strong cosmopolitan woman. Ghesquiere has managed to maintain the brand's essence while adapting it to the expectations of a demanding, connected clientele, particularly with collections that explore femininity through a powerful, avant-garde lens. Under his leadership, Louis Vuitton's runway shows have become true cultural events where fashion, art, and technology meet. On the men's side, Virgil Abloh took the reins in 2018 and immediately disrupted the codes of luxury. As the first Black artistic director at Louis Vuitton, Abloh brought a radically different vision inspired by streetwear and urban influences. His mission was clear: to democratize luxury while preserving the house's prestigious aura, and he did so brilliantly. His first show in 2018, on a rainbow runway, was a powerful symbol: diversity, inclusivity, and a tribute to Black culture in the world of luxury. Abloh also introduced iconic collaborations, including with Nike to reimagine the Air Force One, and with artists like Nigo. He seamlessly brought streetwear into a universe that, just a few years earlier, might have turned away from such influences. With pieces like the LV trainer bags or collections inspired by graffiti and hip-hop, he redefined what men could wear while preserving the sophistication inherent to Louis Vuitton. Beyond clothing, Abloh also made a lasting mark on Louis Vuitton by championing diversity and inclusivity. He launched the LVMH Black Talent Initiative, a program aimed at promoting Black talent in the luxury world, and consistently included models and artists of color in his shows, marking a pivotal moment for the house. His influence continues to resonate in 2024. With Pharrell Williams having taken over the men's collections after Abloh's passing, Williams has already made his mark with his first show at Paris Fashion Week 23, where he paid tribute to Abloh while bringing his own creative vision to the table. The shows under Abloh and Ghesquiere's reign have become more than just fashion events. They are cultural manifestations. Take, for example, Virgil Abloh's Fall 2020 menswear show, which blended music and performance to tackle themes as varied as immigration, race, and identity. It was more than just a runway presentation. It was a statement about the place of urban cultures and marginalized communities in a luxury world historically reserved for a white elite. What we can observe is that Louis Vuitton's stylistic evolution under these two designers mirrors contemporary society. As fashion increasingly opens itself to questions of inclusivity and diversity, Louis Vuitton is at the forefront of this movement. Ghesquiere's women's silhouettes reflect the strength and emancipation of modern women, while Abloh's creations allowed Black culture and streetwear to carve out a space in one of the temples of luxury. In sum, Louis Vuitton in 2024 is a house that embodies both heritage and modernity. Ghesquiere and Abloh transformed the brand into a platform where fashion engages with social, political, and cultural issues. Whether through Ghesquiere's avant-garde women's collections or Abloh's revolutionary men's designs, Louis Vuitton continues to define what luxury means in an increasingly globalized and connected world. If Louis Vuitton is one of the most powerful and iconic luxury brands in the world today, this success wasn't built overnight. What makes Louis Vuitton unique is its ability to adapt to evolving trends while maintaining its DNA of quality craftsmanship and exclusivity. But behind this timeless elegance lies an ultra-efficient business strategy that has evolved over the decades, especially through its integration into the LVMH group and its global expansion. First, let's talk about Louis Vuitton's integration into the LVMH group Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. In 1987, Louis Vuitton merged with Moet Hennessy to create the largest luxury conglomerate in the world. This strategic decision wasn't just a formality. It allowed Vuitton to accelerate its growth while benefiting from the organizational structure and financial resources of a luxury giant. Under Bernard Arnault's leadership, LVMH has turned Louis Vuitton into its crown jewel, expanding its global influence. Thanks to an acquisition strategy that expanded LVMH's portfolio of brands, Louis Vuitton has retained its creative autonomy while benefiting from economic and logistical synergies. A key element of this strategy is the brand's global expansion, with a strong focus on the Asian and American markets. Asia, particularly China, has become a crucial market for Louis Vuitton over the past 2 decades. The brand capitalized on the rise of the Chinese middle class and the growing appetite for luxury, opening stores in cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Hong Kong. Today, Louis Vuitton is one of those brands for which Asian consumers are primary clientele, representing an increasingly significant share of the market. This development in Asia is complemented by a strong presence in the United States, where collaborations with local artists and celebrities have strengthened Louis Vuitton's relevance in the American market. But behind this global expansion, craftsmanship remains at the heart of Louis Vuitton's strategy. Despite globalization and increasing demand, the house has always insisted on exceptional product quality, maintaining high standards in the manufacturing of its items. Every Louis Vuitton bag is still handmade using techniques that have barely changed since the house's founding in the 19th century. This attention to craftsmanship is a key argument for the brand's image. You're not just buying a Louis Vuitton product, you're buying an object steeped in history, made with care and expertise. In 2024, with the debate around sustainability and ethical luxury more pressing than ever, Louis Vuitton strives to meet new consumer expectations while preserving its close connection to traditional craftsmanship. This quality is also what allows Louis Vuitton to justify its high prices and remain resilient in the face of economic crises. Unlike many other luxury brands, Louis Vuitton is known for never offering sales, a choice that reinforces the idea of exclusivity and rarity. And yet, despite this strategy, the brand has managed to reach a wider audience, largely thanks to its deft handling of its image on social media. And speaking of social media, Louis Vuitton has expertly adapted to the digital age, becoming a leading brand on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. The house uses influencers and celebrities to bring its online presence to life, partnering with personalities like Emma Chamberlain, Zendaya, and K-pop idols like J-Hope from BTS. These partnerships aren't just marketing stunts. They're an integral part of Louis Vuitton's strategy to stay connected with younger generations while maintaining its luxury image. In an era where the power of social media continues to grow, Vuitton has managed to maintain its prestige while being accessible through captivating visuals and viral campaigns. Finally, the future of luxury for Louis Vuitton seems firmly rooted in innovation, without abandoning its core values. In 2024, sustainability is on everyone's mind, and Louis Vuitton, while remaining anchored in craftsmanship, is investing in more environmentally friendly projects. The brand is also exploring the concept of digital luxury, with initiatives like NFTs and augmented reality experiences. By adapting to new consumer expectations while continuing to emphasize quality and craftsmanship, Louis Vuitton ensures it stays at the top of the luxury market. In summary, Louis Vuitton's business model is a delicate balance between tradition and innovation. The brand has conquered the world without ever losing sight of its roots, continuously reinventing itself to meet consumer expectations while maintaining an unparalleled level of excellence. Louis Vuitton remains a model to follow, not only for its commercial success, but also for the way it embodies luxury in the modern era. And there you have it. After this journey through the decades, one thing is clear. Louis Vuitton isn't just a fashion house. It's a living legend that's been able to adapt and reinvent itself while staying true to its roots. From its humble beginnings with trunks in 1858, the brand has evolved into a true global icon. From the LV monogram, designed by Georges Gasson to combat counterfeiting, to the bold artistic collaborations under Marc Jacobs, and of course, the streetwear revolution orchestrated by Virgil Abloh, Louis Vuitton has never stopped pushing the boundaries of luxury. But the question on everyone's mind today is, where does Louis Vuitton go from here? In a world where ethical fashion, sustainability, and the demands for more responsible luxury are becoming louder, will Louis Vuitton continue to set the standard? Will the brand manage to reconcile its prestige with the new expectations of consumers? If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and even visit our website, capcroissantmedia.com, for more analysis. You can also support me with a small contribution. See you soon for another dose of coffee, croissants, and pop culture analysis in cappuccino and croissant. All right, take care.